Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Tammy. Trying to do good. Trying to be here when you guys want me here. So let me shut my phone off. So I'm doing it a day early only because it's Thanksgiving tomorrow. So I wanted to see if I could do it, and I'll shut that off. And see if I can get anybody to come in. But it's okay. I understand, and I'll just keep going. And what I'm going to do is lean into the forms that I gave you guys. I told you I was going to go over it with you guys page by page. So that's what we're going to do tonight. But we're also going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So until I hear from somebody, I'm going to go in to do my thing. And then you guys can just jump in, ask me any kind of questions you want. I don't care. Whoever that is, hello, hello. How are you doing? Happy Thanksgiving to be. So I just want to let you guys know that last week's thing that I did, I just wanted you guys to know where I stood, and that no matter what, I'm still going to keep it moving, and that I also wanted you guys to know that that was the end of that. Okay, so all of that stuff is going to go by the wayside until something happens and I have to say I told you so. But anyway, until that happens, we're just going to keep moving on with what we've been doing all along. Okay, nothing's changed so far, and so I'm not changing or updating my forms yet, not until something changes in the federal government that would force me to look at things from a different perspective. Okay, now a couple of the things that could happen for me to change the way I do things is that somehow, let's say hypothetically, the Department of Education, the United States Department of Education goes away, and it's now some form, OSEP is now under Health and Human Services, under Robert Kennedy Jr. Um, so if that happens, I don't know what's actually going to happen as far as, because there are statements made in Project 2025. Okay, but there's no step by step on how they're going to do it. And if what's going on right now is any indication of the chaos, I don't think anything's going to happen, because they can't take something away and just, take it away. They have to have, Congress has to agree, both sides, House and the Senate, and then it goes to the president, and then the president signs it, and then it goes away. But it has to be an act of Congress to get to take away IDEA. And that came straight from OSEP. I was scared before, so I called OSEP and I asked them, and they said, "Yeah, no. The only way that can happen is if Congress takes it away. There has to be a law, it has to be a vote, and all that good jolly stuff." So until then, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. Okay. So tonight we are going to talk about, until somebody asks me a question, um, we're going to talk about the laws, and we're going to talk about how to file a complaint and what those forms are supposed to be for. And how they were, and the intentions on how I wanted you guys to use it. Oh, did you see my t-shirt? I finally made it, because I got a new machine. See it in the background? See that pretty color thing right there? Yeah, that's my new automatic iron press thing, prop press. So now this is real easy to make. You can see all the big letters on the bottom. Before you couldn't do that. But anyway, so now I'm making these, and I'm going to make hats. Um, I'm not going to make the actual hat, but I'm going to put like WWTD on the hats. So it's going to be kind of fun. I'm going to put them on sweatshirts and long sleeve t-shirts, and if you guys want one, you got to let me know, and then I'll make it for you. And they're only, I think I'm only selling them for like $15. So as long as I can get the t-shirts cheap, you guys get it cheap too if you want one. Anywho, I'm also making tote bags. So I'll have, little by little, I'll have a little bit of this stuff coming out. So anyway, so we're going to talk about OCR too, and how you write a complaint to OCR. I don't think you guys understand how you write a complaint. And maybe, it's just me, but it's when you write a complaint for a violation of law, you have to cite the violation of law. what you perceive to be a violation of law is not necessarily a violation of law. So you have to refer to it in your complaint. You have to rephrase. You have to show how the law that you're filing, that the school district violated, you have to show how they did that. So if the law says the teachers have to implement the IEP, and you have documentation to prove that the teacher is refusing to implement the IEP. This is after, you can't say this is what she says she's going to do. No, until they actually do the deed. Okay, it's just like, the law. The law says that until a person is missing 48 hours, they're not going to look for nobody. The law says that even though the person threatened you, they can't arrest them on the threat. They actually have to have proof that this person did something to you other than scare you. Okay, we get scared by a lot of things. So there has to be definitive things that you're saying in your complaint that relate to the law, not that relate to your definition of the law, but that actually relates to the law itself. So you need to find the law. Okay, I've showed you guys where it is. You need to read it. Now, in a lot of complaint forms from the federal government, they actually tell you what it is. And you have to read that stuff as if this is what the school district did. This is what the federal government is saying. In order for this to happen for let's say, a disability or race. Okay. And this is why I never file with OCR. I don't file with them because I don't believe they do anything. They don't. So what I do is I file against the school district using IDEA, because if your kid is on an IEP, your kid is also covered under 504. And in most states, when you file that complaint, you can word it in such a way that it's discrimination, because IDEA is a discrimination law. When you don't give a kid with a disability an education, that's a violation. Now, if a teacher is saying they're not going to implement your kid's IEP, which means when they say, I'm not going to educate your kid, that means that what your question to them in person, in front of everybody is, are you refusing to implement my son's IEP in your classroom? And if so, you turned to the chairperson, who should be either the SPED director or somebody in authority, and say to that person, what are you going to do about this? Because when this IEP is not implemented and I have it, she said she's not going to do it. You people all heard it. So if she's not going to do it, my kid's IEP, that means he's being denied FAPE. He's not going to get a free, appropriate public education. Appropriate being the key word. Appropriate is because what's in his IEP. Okay? Number 2, if it ain't in the IEP, you ain't getting it. You got to make sure the things that you want go in that IEP. Okay? Or you reject the IEP. You say that the IEP is not reasonably calculated to provide FAPE. Now, when you file with like OCR, that's your allegation that the school district and the teacher in the school district has stated that she's not educating my kid, and therefore that is a denial of FAPE, a free and appropriate public education, and that's under OCR regulations for education. So you can file. You have to know what those laws are. You can't sit down and, I told you guys all the time, you can't tell a sad story. Nobody cares about your sad story. Everybody has one. Everybody has a sad story. So you writing what that teacher said in the complaint isn't amount of anything. First of all, did she actually do it? Has she done it? Can you prove it? Can you prove whatever you're alleging in a complaint? Can you prove it was done with, hi, Christina, with hard, cold facts? Do you have documentation? Do you have the evidence? If you don't have the evidence and you can't prove it, for all intents and purposes, it didn't happen. Not under the law. Not enough for them to do anything about it. Do you understand? The law has to be violated. And you violate the law when you don't do what the law says you have to do. So you have to find out what the law says they have to do. You understand? That's how we work that. If you don't do that, let me tell you something. These people are lazy. They don't want to do shit. They don't want to Go do this investigation. So the less you give them, the more they're not going to do. Get it? Feel me? That's why I designed these forms. So let's go take a look at the forms. Let's see what I got. Okay, so we're going to do this. Add to stage. Do this. Okay, so now, okay, good. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I mean. When I tell you guys what to write, this is why I did this. Okay, this is why I set this up the way I did. So first of all, what I want you guys to do is you can use this form. Just go and check off all the boxes that apply to you. That's the first thing you do. What applies to you, you check off in each section. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to delete all of that. Okay. Then you can use all of this. Okay. What you can do is, let me show you. You can leave this part right here because that's the federal laws that you're implementing. Okay. So you could do that. Now, but then after you put that in there, okay, and take off my name, take my name out. What you're going to do is you're going to take out all of this. Just take it out. Just cut and paste, take it out. Okay? That's what you're going to do. Those instructions are for you, not for anybody that's reading this form. Okay? So, when you get to the first one, okay, I just told you about denial of FAPE. This is what it means. So the district failed to implement the last accepted IEP, see attached. You have to attach the IEP. I don't care who you're sending this to. That record has to go. And you have to use it to refer to as a point of reference to say they didn't implement this IEP. Then you have to pick out certain things in the IEP that you can prove they didn't do. Now, the other things that you use are report cards. That's how you can prove. And then you pick a goal or an objective or whatever's in your state, how they write up the IEP. Okay. You say goal number 1 was never implemented. And 99% of the time, people, I'm telling you, hand to God, a good portion of the time, these people will put on the IEP that they didn't master the goal. Okay. Or they only made 60% of that thing they did. 60% is not good. The IEP is supposed to be, if they only did 60%, that proves that the IEP was not reasonably calculated, and that proves they denied FAPE. See how it works? The words in the IEP, the previous IEP, so you're in school now. You're in school right now, okay? Your kid's in school. Good. So here's the problem. Your kid's in school. This is November, okay? So you're about to get the quarterly report cards, okay? And you're about to get the quarterly progress reports for the IEP. When you get those in your hot little hands, you need to go look at the IEP and you need to see what they wrote in there. Did they say things like they've only made 60% of the time? Now, what you can't go file it right away, because if you file it based on that alone, they're going to come back and say, well, the year's not up yet. And they'll be right. Because that one goal is supposed to take your kid a whole year to meet. Okay? The whole year. So you literally have to wait until the end of the year, but you keep track because you're going to get 3 or 4, depending on how they do it in your school district. You're going to get 3 or 4 quarterly progress reports. And you keep them in a special folder. Okay? Especially if in the first quarter your kid didn't meet the goal to any degree, or only to some degree. Okay? So if your kid, that means this one right here, big check mark. See? Put an X right there. Okay? Because that's what they failed to implement the last accepted IEP. See attached. And what you attach is the IEP and the IEP progress reports written in their own words. That's how you nail them. That's why I want you guys to use this form, not your own form. I want you to use this form. Okay? That's why. So the next thing you could have said is, so this is a big check mark. Okay? So in number 1, it's allegation of violation of idea. And the allegation is a denial of FAPE. See how that works? That's an allegation. That's a law. Denial of FAPE is a law. FAPE is a law. FAPE is a law in OCR. FAPE is a law under IDEA. FAPE is a law. It's a regulation. Okay? So the next one you come down to, it says district failed to implement related services and other supports in the last IEP. Okay, so then you go look at, you keep track of how many times the OT, the PT, the speech and language pathologist, you pay close attention to how many times these people were not at school with your kid. Anytime they weren't at school to provide your kid with that service, they have to make that up. They have to make those hours up or that time up. Okay? That's compensatory services. And so what you have to do, I'm sorry, but you do. What you have to do is you have to keep track of it. And when you're keeping track of it, you send an email and you say, my son told me today that the speech and language pathologist wasn't in today. Who's making up the hours for the speech and language services? You just create the paper trail. You don't care about the answer. Don't worry about the answer. Don't worry about all the reasons, explanations, or excuses they're going to give you, and they're going to give them to you. Okay? I'm telling you what they're going to do. Believe me when I'm telling you this. They're going to do it. Doesn't matter. That's proof. We want them to answer you because they're stupid and they're gonna. Okay? Your kid comes home and all you have to do is put it in writing and say, my kid came home today and he said he didn't get speech. I asked him if he got speech and language. He saw the speech and he said no. I asked him if he had OT. He said no. I asked him if he saw the BCBA. He said no. Every time your kid says no, or you get an email from them, sometimes they'll send you the email. And what they'll do is they'll keep building this crap up all through the year. Your kid won't get anything. You understand? And believe me when I tell you, it's happened to me and my clients before. That's how I know they're going to do this to you. So you have to pay attention. And you have to send them emails. That's your paper trail. You create an email address, okay, that's just for your kid in this school. And that's the email. All the emails go in there. Okay. So when you create that file, I'm going to show you how to take an email and how you turn it into a document. Okay. Nobody knows how to do that apparently, but it's real easy. Whether you have Gmail or Yahoo, somewhere on there, there's a print. There's a thing where you can, when you open up the email, there's a little print icon, print. It looks like a printer. Click on that. And then when it does the drop down menu, it'll be connected to your printer. Or it'll say no printer connected. That's okay. There's a drop-down menu on that, and it'll say save as PDF. Save it as a PDF file. Save it as a PDF file. And then you create a file on your computer for all that stuff to go in. Okay? Now you could do it on, what do you call it? Cloud. You could put it in the cloud. That'll work too. It doesn't matter as long as you have a place where all of your emails are going, and then you name it so you know what it is when you go look for it. Okay, so see if you can put in a file in the cloud. If you could do that, do that. If you don't have, I think you can save stuff on Google under Google Google Docs. You can have all your documents going over there. Okay, you guys have to let me know what you want, and I will tell you how to get it. Okay, so that's what you do there. The district, so because these related services right here and other supports, like accommodations, like let's say your kid is supposed to sit real close to the teacher and not near any windows or doors, but you go visit your kid in his classroom and he's sitting way in the back and he's sitting way over there in the corner next to the windows. So your kid's looking out the window all day long being distracted. That's a violation because his IEP says he has preferential seating and he has to sit in the front of the classroom and he can't sit next to the window and he can't sit next to any doors. That's basic stuff for kids with ADHD or even autism. Basic. That's a given. That always goes in an IEP under accommodations. Now, when you want to file with OCR for OCR is about accommodations. You can prove that when you went to the school on such and such a date, your son was sitting in the back of the classroom, sitting next to a window and next to the door. but his IEP accommodations says the exact opposite, that he's supposed to have preferential seating. And this went on all school year. And this is his report card. He failed everything. You proved your point. You see how it works, guys? This is how it works. Okay. So that's how, and then in the end, so guess what? Then you go right down to the third one, and it says, district failed to develop a reasonably calculated IEP to address my kid's unique needs. When your kid does not fully and 100% meet the goals they wrote for your kid, that's what it means. Number 3, they didn't develop a reasonably calculated IEP to address my kid's unique needs. They developed an IEP for them. They didn't develop an IEP. If your kid can't meet the goals in the IEP, they should have figured that out by the end of the first quarter and said, wait a minute, this isn't working out too good. Because if he doesn't grab this right now, by the second quarter, he's not gonna meet the goals again. Do you guys know that you can have as many IEP meetings as you need? Not just to develop an IEP. You can have an IEP meeting to develop a better IEP. You can have an IEP meeting to say, this IEP is not working. He's not meeting. After the first quarter, you say, what the hell's going on? I need an IEP meeting. I need an IEP. They're going to say, what for? To modify the IEP because he's not meeting goals and objectives. Then you also have proof. Here's another thing. Let's say, hypothetically, you asked for ESY services and they said no. And by the first quarter of the next year, your son or your daughter is failing in school, all of the classes or one of the classes or whatever's they're taking. Your kid is failing under one of the issues on the IEP. You just proved that your kid needed ESY services. And had your kid had the ESY services, then your kid would have just maintained the skills that your kid had, because when he was in school and when he was getting all of these services, he was passing. Here's his previous report card. This is my kid on an IEP getting all of his services. This is my kid on the first quarter, the first report card, after not having any services all summer, going back to school, and he's failing. That proves your kid needed an ESY program. So therefore, they owe you compensatory services. That's how you get them. That's how you have to think about this, guys. Okay? I don't know if everybody can see me. Can Christina, are you still there, girl? Because I don't know. I see 2 people, but I don't know who else is on. I can't see it for some reason. Somebody let me know. Usually I have both YouTube and Facebook, but I don't see it. So I don't know what's going on because everything bad. What's this? I didn't know I could even move that stupid thing. Okay, so hello, everyone. I'm just going to type that and see what happens. Oh, I went to both. Okay. Well, it's there. So anyway, so what was I going to say? So that's how you prove a violation of his right to have ESY services. Okay. And as the year goes on, if every quarter, if your kid's not doing good, he's not meeting the requirement, he's not mastering any skills by the halfway mark, have another meeting. And you tell them he's not meeting the criteria in this IEP. We need to modify it. This is too big for him. He hasn't met anything so far. The IEP is designed to meet your kid's unique needs within a year's time. He has to make some kind of gains to some degree. By the halfway mark, he should be at 50% with the goals in every single goal. 50%. Now, if they're saying your kid met every single goal by the half of the year, it's time for you guys to go have another IEP meeting, develop another IEP, because that one is overplay. We're done. So now we take it to the next level. Now we up the ante in his IEP, because just because your kid met the goals in the IEP doesn't mean he no longer needs an IEP. It means we got to go take it to the next level. Think of it as this. you first learn 1 + 1 is 2. Okay. First you do the addition. Then you do Alma. Then you do first you do first you do addition. All the addition numbers. Okay, you multiplying 3 digits, 4 digits, 5 digits. I mean, you're adding 3, 4, 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, all the numbers that you can add. You to say that your kid can add and subtract. Okay. Then you do multiplication. Then you do division. Okay. So if your kid was having a problem with adding and subtracting, now that he's mastered that, the part of the IEP that has to be addressed is multiplication and division. Okay. So now we have to figure out, does your kid know multiplication and division? All of it, not pieces, not some of it, not halfway, not in the middle, all of it. Does your kid understand the concept of multiplication and division? Inside out, upside down, round the corners, all that. Does he know it? If your kid doesn't know it 100%, there's something missing. So what you have to do is you have to request the school district to do a key math evaluation. And you can find that key math evaluation on pearsonclinical.com. Okay. And in that, what you do is, and I could show you how to do that too. What I do is I go in and I look up the key math evaluation and what it covers. And then I copy and paste it and I put it in my complaint and I say, my kid can't do this. What is the school district going to say? Yes, he can. Here's his report card. No, he can't. Yeah. So that's discrimination. So they're treating your kid differently than everybody else. So everybody else has to learn geometry, but your kid doesn't. Okay. And everything depends on your kid's age, your kid's grade, your kid's disability. All of this stuff comes into play. Okay. You have to remember something, guys. Just because the way you think about what the law is, that's your perception of the law. That doesn't mean you're right. It doesn't mean that's the way it should be. What you have to understand is, what does the law say? Period. Doesn't matter what you think it says. Your feelings don't come into play in this. I'm telling you right now, your feelings don't come into play. I've had one school district in Brockton, Massachusetts, one time told me, when I asked them why they didn't evaluate the kid when the parent asked them to, and the idiot said to me, well, we didn't feel that she needed to be evaluated. And I looked at them with a straight face and I said, oh, I'm sorry. I must have missed that part of the idea that talks about the school district's feelings. That's just how I said it. Guess who got evaluated? That kid. Guess who was put in a residential private special needs school for 1.5 years? And guess who paid for it? Guess who didn't go to a hearing? Guess who had a little brother with the same kind of problems? He also went to the same school as his sister. He was there for 1 year. And then they both ended up going to a day program at that same school that the school district funded. That's what you get when you have feelings. Nobody cares about your feelings. The law doesn't. The law's not warm and fuzzy. It's not warm and fuzzy, people. No, it's not. It's not about your feelings. It's not about how you interpret things. It's not about the right and the wrong of something. Is, did they implement it? And did your son suffer or your daughter suffer because they didn't implement it? That's it. That's it. There's no in between. There's no nothing. Now, let's say a school district, didn't implement your kid's IEP. Or, now here's another part of the law. There's another law that says that when a student is placed on an IEP, that every teacher that kid has to have a copy of the IEP, and every teacher has to implement it. They have to implement the IEP that was written. Okay? So, whatever's in the IEP, that's what they have to do. Okay? A teacher cannot say, well, I take that back. If a teacher says they're not going to educate your kid, then what you have to do at a team meeting and in writing is say, during the team meeting, yada, yada, yada said she's not implementing my child's IEP in the classroom. Is this true? Is she not implementing that? And I'm telling you, as God is my judge, they're going to come back and say that's not true. She is implementing the IEP, but that's not what she said at the team meeting. I need clarity. I need some clarity. Is she implementing the IEP? Now, if she's not implementing what you want her to do, what you have to make sure is what you want her to do is in the IEP. That's the key. Whatever you want the school to do for your kid, it must be in that IEP. If it's not in that IEP, you're not getting it. And you can't get them for not implementing. You can't get them for not implementing AIR. You understand? You can't do that. You have to, it's like saying somebody accusing you of stealing a pack of gum at the local grocery store. Do you have gum in your pocket? No. Did they see you take the gum? No. Is it on camera you took a gum? No. That doesn't mean then you didn't take the gum. There's no proof you took the gum, you didn't take the gum. It's gone. The gum was, you never stole the gum. Do you understand? That's how it has to work. I tell you guys this all the time. If it's not in the IEP, they're not doing it. And if it's not in the IEP, they're not going to get in trouble for not doing it. They don't have to do it. You have to prove that without this particular service, your kid's not going to get an education. If your kid cannot do 1 + 1, 2 + 2, 3 + 3, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, your kid can't get to algebra. You can't. Because if you don't know those concepts, then you can't do an algebraic problem. You can't. But that's not to say they're not going to push your kid through. And there's a law for that too. The law actually says that the school district cannot push your kid through school and say that, how does that law go? That your kid passes from grade to grade. And that means your kid doesn't need an IEP. No. And that's what they're doing. They're pushing your kid through the system. So what you have to do is you have to prove that your kid can't do the work that they're giving them. And all you have to do is tell them you want copies of all of the work he's doing in class. Put it in writing and tell them you want everything that he's doing in class, you want it to come home. His name's on it. He did it. Why can't you see it? I actually had a parent who found out her kid came home with his homework and the mother was trying to get him to do his homework. And he kept saying, I didn't do my homework. I can't do my homework. And she said, what do you mean? You were in class today. Yes, I was. And she said, I want you to do your homework. He said, I didn't learn how to do that today. She said, what are you talking about? He said, when the teacher said you did do it, it's right here. He said, I was in the bathroom. She did that. Do you know what was in the teacher's handwriting? And the teacher actually wrote it on the paper. So I'm telling you guys, it's not hard to get them. You just got to know what you're looking for. The teacher literally put it in writing that she allegedly tried to help him with his homework while he was in the bathroom. So he didn't learn how to do that. He was in the toilet. She was outside the door doing something nobody knows, but he couldn't do the work. So now we got a problem. We fixed it because we let her know this is illegal. You can't do his work and say he did it. But we got it in writing. So when we filed our complaint, we added that little note. Or when we went to hearing, I can't remember what we did. But whatever we did, we had that piece of paper and we asked her that question to her face. She's screwed. You have to gather your work. If you don't gather the work, how do I hire you? I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm not taking any more clients. I'm not taking clients. I just want everybody to see that, but I'm not. I'm sorry. I would love to. You guys don't understand. I am 65 years old and I'm still fighting for one kid or two. And they're adults. And it don't get no better when they turn 18. Telling you, or 22. It gets worse. Because now we're dealing with, I know. It's okay though. It's okay. Because if you do what I tell you, if you guys are going to tell me you're going to be here, if you guys are going to be here and you guys are going to come, I will be here. I will answer each and every single one of your questions to your face one by one. Okay. If I need to, I will say, send me the paperwork. I want to see what you sent them. And I will say, I will tell you what you did wrong, which some of you don't know this, but that's what's going on right now. So, so I can help you, but thank you. Thank you for asking that and saying that. That's really nice. That's cool. It's a bummer that you can't hire me. I'm sorry. Thank you. That's a compliment for me. I always think I'm getting tired of it. And then I start looking at this stuff and I get mad all over again. It's like, what the hell? So anyway, that's why I wrote up these papers for you. I'm telling you guys, you better go look at this. I put the whole thing in this video. So it's going to go page by page. Okay. So if you go in and you start checking off this stuff, and now, so let's say you said district failed to implement the last accepted IEP. You attach it. Okay. So you say to yourself, okay, so what? That don't mean shit all by itself. No, now you attach the progress reports. Okay. Now you're going to have to wait a year because it is what it is, honeys. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. So what you have to do is you have to attach the progress. Anything that's going to prove he didn't learn shit. So what do you need, guys? Come on. What do you need? You guys tell me what you need to prove a child didn't get an education who's on an IEP. What are some of the documents that you guys can use? Stop putting them in there. You guys tell me because you know the answer. You guys all know the answers. Just put it out there. So we already know you definitely need the IEP. So that's the foundation because who's ever reading your complaint needs to know a place to start. And the place to start is with the IEP that the school district started because you said my kid didn't get an education. So, okay, cool. So what do you need? Report card and progress reports. Andrew, Mike, you don't need me. Absolutely right. You need every IEP for every quarter. Okay. You need all of the progress reports. Okay. Now there's something else you can use. Okay. The thing that got you to an IEP in the first place. What do they have to do at the school to determine that your kid needs an IEP? Somebody tell me that. What do you need? Mm-hmm. Quickly. Quickly. You guys know the answer to this too. There's a process that we have to go through in order to determine whether a kid needs specially designed instruction, an IEP. What do you guys think it is? Tell me. Come on. Come on. Come on. Stop it. Are you kidding me? Are you guys kidding me? Oh, no. That's just the flow chart. No, come on. Flow chart don't mean jack dooley squat. That's just telling the whole team how they have to work. Close, but no cigar. Come on. What do you guys have to get done? Okay, I'll give you a hint. What do they need consent to do? That's a big hint. That's almost like I just gave you the answer. Mm-hmm. What is it? You want your kid on an IEP, and you're filing a complaint, and you got the IEP, you got test, evaluations. That's my girl. Okay, I don't know if you're a girl or a guy. It says Andrew. I'm thinking you're a mom, but you might be Andrew. So, so are you a he or she? So, yes. So, when you file this complaint right here, when you want to prove a denial of FAPE, you got to let the person that's reading this stuff understand what the hell's going on. Diagnosis. That's what will be in the testing from your doctor. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Okay. So, perfect. So if you have a diagnosis from your doctor, you need to get that over to the school district pronto. Okay. As soon as they get documentation from you, they have to have a team meeting to discuss the results of your evaluations also. Not just when they do it, yours too. And you send it to them. When you send them the diagnosis, you say, and I am requesting a team meeting to discuss the results to determine whether or not, one, if your kid is already eligible, then you want to have a meeting to discuss to modify the IEP to include what's in this report, or to develop an IEP, or to determine eligibility for an IEP based on this. And then the school district will come back if he's not on an IEP. Well, we need to test. Okay. And there's several testing. So what if you don't agree with their testing? Oh, good. We never agree with their testing. But you can go to your insurance company. You go to your doctor and you say, I need testing done. I need a neuropsychological evaluation to test my kid in all areas. This is what they said about my kid at school. My kid's failing everything. So you tell the doctor, and if you need a referral, then you get it. If you don't need a referral, you contact your insurance company and see what they cover. So what you can get is a neuropsychological evaluation. It covers everything. It goes to the core of your kid. Okay, it goes way in. Whereas when the school district does their testing, it's just fluff. It's just right off the top. They just skim the top. Okay. What you want is either a clinical psychological evaluation or you want a neuropsychological evaluation. That will give you the academic part of how of what your kid can and cannot do. And it could also determine what disability your kid has and how that disability, not what, but how that disability impacts his learning. That's why I love neuropsychs or clinical psychological evaluations, because it goes way, it goes to the bone, goes way in. The school district don't want to go way in. They don't want to go, and you have to have certain kind of credentials to do a psychological evaluation is the WISC-5 or the WACE or the WIPC, depending on the kid's age. Okay, those are all intelligence tests or achievement tests. Okay. But you want more than that. And so if you don't agree with their testing, don't say nothing. Contact your doctor. I'm telling you, some places like New York, they fold easy for IEEs at public expense for some reason. Well, actually, I wouldn't say that. Here's the problem. If you have choices. If you request an IEE at public expense, they can say no. And then if they say no, you have the right to file for a hearing to dispute that, and they have to tell you your rights. Okay. So just because the school district says no doesn't mean it's no. It just means that's what they said. So you got to go fight it, basically. And the other thing is, if you ask for an independent evaluation, the law says that the school district, not you, the school district has to file for a hearing within a certain timeline to argue that their evaluations were technically sound and all of that stuff. Okay, that's 34 CFR 300.502 is the independent. I'll just put this 34 CFR 300.502. Okay, look up these regulations. All you have to do is type that into your browser and it'll come up and it'll say ECFR. That's what you want. You want the ECFR. Okay, let me show you. Oh, let me see. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing that. Okay. Let's do this. And then present. I'm going to show you what it's supposed to look like. Okay. Here. Okay. This is what, when I just said 34 CFR 300.502, let me show you what it is. Okay, so you go in there and you do this. Okay, so when you type it in your thing, you'll come up with this website. It'll say see up here? Wait, I can't see it. Okay, wait. Why is this not okay? See, right there says independent evaluation, IEE. Okay, so it says independent means an evaluation conducted by a qualified examiner who is not employed by the public agency responsible for the education. So independent means somebody away from the school. Okay, it means at public expense. Okay, that the public agency pays for the full cost of the evaluation or ensures that the evaluation is otherwise provided at no cost to the parents. Okay. And this is the regulation that takes care of. Okay. And then, so you have a right to an independent evaluation at public expense if the parent disagrees with an evaluation obtained by the public agency. Okay. Now, the way you get it is you say the school district didn't evaluate in all areas of suspected disability. That's what I'm going to see right here. Okay, I'll show you what it says. If a parent requests an IEE at public expense, the public agency must, without unnecessary delay. Okay, so you ask for it. This is what they have to do without unnecessary delay. Under the law, that's just a few days. It's not weeks and months, for sure. Okay, they either, the parent requests, the public agency must file a due process complaint to request a hearing to show that its evaluations were appropriate, or ensure that the IEEs is provided at public expense unless the agency demonstrates in a hearing that the evaluation obtained by the parent did not meet the agency criteria. So that's a whole nother topic. Okay. So if you guys want me to talk to you about independent evaluations in another one, I will. But, okay, so now I'm going to go do this again. What did I do with my paper? So stop. And then I want to go back. Is my this one. Okay, I just need to check something out so I can put it back up, guys. Okay. Oh, it's never the one because God forbid. Okay, so remove, and now I gotta go do this. Share screen. That's what I want. Go share screen. No. Okay. Okay. So if you file, what was your question? What if that? Okay, so let's say hypothetically, so what you're gonna do for this? So I'm gonna go back now. So for the allegation of a denial of faith, is it the same procedure in transition stage to evaluate the student to prove he is not progressing to be able to go to college work? Yes, you have to evaluate. And there's a whole age appropriate education. There's a whole booklet that the government is a grant that I put out there before. If you want it, you let me know and I'll just put it in here and you guys click on it. Okay. It's called the Age Appropriate Transition Planning. And that's for people who are about to age out of, no, it's transition. So in some states, it's at the age of 14. In other states, it's at the federal law says 16. Massachusetts is 14. I think New York is 14. At the age of 14, they have to do transition planning, or 16, the law says. Federal law says 16. So yes, it is the same procedure to evaluate the student to prove. It's not to prove that he's not progressing. It's to give them information on how to develop a transition plan. Where do I find that book? You want the transition book, Michael? I mean, Andrew, is that what you want? Let me see. I'm going to go get it. Is this the one? Wait a minute. Let me go back and check. Let me just check something, okay? Age appropriate transition. Who is this? Age appropriate. There it is. Okay, you want the one that says NSTATTAC. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as a PDF file. Then put it on my desktop. Save. Okay. Copy, and here we go. Okay. Where do you find it? Post a comment. Tammy. Okay. Here. Age appropriate. Appropriate transition. I can't see, guys. Transition. This is the procedures. Okay, so here's the link. So this is the stuff. So if you click on it, it won't do it right for me, but there it is right there. And if you need it, you can go in. If you you should be able to get this from the transcripts of this thing. What do you call it? What's this called? Video. So if you go on YouTube, you can get a transcript of everything that I'm saying. And what you look for is age appropriate transition assessment. Just scroll down until you see it. And then if you still can't find it, contact me and I can send you the link for sure. Okay. But you definitely need that. You got to find out what the age is in your state, and that you can find that under special education laws in your state for transition. Okay. You just type in, whatever state you're in. So that's what you do there. So that would be, if your kid is 14 years old, that would be another way to prove that the IEP is not reasonably calculated to meet your kid's unique needs. Okay. So if your kid, you're in Mass, oh, honey, it's 14. I'm from there. Yeah, it's 14. And they don't do shit. Just tell them. They don't do nothing. You gotta fight with them every step of the way when it comes to transition. They don't even know what transition is. I've given this to school. This book that I just sent you, that I gave you the link to, I've given that book to them. That's the newest one too, 2020, I think. So, and it's a PDF file. So they don't do shit in Massachusetts. I'm telling you, I'm fighting Massachusetts right now. They don't do the transition. When your kid turns 22, oh my God, these people are just stuck on stupid for real. I mean, it's bad. Even when you get your kid into a program, if you have to get your kid into like a residential program, using DDS in Massachusetts, the Developmental Disabilities Services, oh my God, it's a nightmare. These people are cray-cray. There are no words to describe the sheer stupidity that goes on at the state agencies in Massachusetts. Oh, and by the way, did you guys see WCVB in Massachusetts? Yeah, Channel 5 investigates. They just did an investigation on EEC. The people where these, where they okay, these are the people that license private schools and private special needs schools and or programs and private daycares. So they just did an investigation. They're not even doing criminal background checks. Pedophiles all up in there. A few years ago, when I was still living in Massachusetts, it's EEC, Early Education and Care, that does the licensing. In Early Education and Care in Massachusetts, there was a guy that was working for EEC, and just for laughs and giggles, he was typing in some names of individuals that it was in the Boston Globe that that the EEC gave private licenses to run a daycare in their house. Over 100, I think it was 120. Of 120 names, he found that either they were pedophiles or they had 51As on them. And EEC gave these people license to have your kid in their house with a 51A in force. Yeah, be careful in Massachusetts. I can say that about Massachusetts because I used to live there. And I hate that place. With all my heart and soul, I hate Massachusetts. And it's the agencies and how much it costs to live there. They have a lot of nerve because there's nothing in Massachusetts that's even worth that kind of money to live there. But aside from the cost, the state, in my field, the state agencies are just cray-cray. I mean, and the doctors are the same. You have to check them at every single turn. You have to check their nuts at the door. And they don't like it. I don't care. I like it that they don't like it, which makes me do it more because that's the kind of bee I am. But anyway, so yeah, Massachusetts is 14 years old. They have to start with it. You have to have that transition paper, and they do some stupid shit. It's a dumb piece of paper. There's no evaluations. There's nothing. So what they're supposed to be doing, a transition is supposed to be preparing your kid to get out of high school and move to the next level. Employment, higher education. Just because your kid's on an IEP doesn't mean your kid can't go to college. Okay? It doesn't mean your kid can't get a job and be self-sufficient. What it means is your kid might need a little extra help getting to that point, and they have to make sure. And I think there's something about the transition and graduating with a certified diploma, and if they didn't do the job right with regards to transition, they have to graduate your kid anyway. Yeah. Because they fucked up. Yeah. So anyway, so that's a whole nother topic. That's huge. But so what we've all decided is that you guys do know what you need. You need the IEP to determine if the school district denied FAPE. You need the IEP, first of all. Okay. Then you need report cards showing that failing all kinds of subjects. Okay. And the comments that any comments that the teachers make, all of that. So you need the report cards, you need the IEP, you need the progress reports and evaluations, especially the ones where the school district's evaluations is the one that put your kid on an IEP. So if the school district found in the report, it'll tell you, you guys have no idea the juicy stuff that's inside of those evaluations that the school district writes. It talks about what your kid can and cannot do. It talks about what they did to try to get the answers from your kid. And then you tell them, well, you guys didn't go far enough. I want independence. They say no. Let me tell you something. In Massachusetts, those suckers say no. Be careful of Massachusetts, because if you don't have the money to hire an attorney or the time and energy to deal with this nonsense with the BSEA in Massachusetts, the Bureau of Special Education Appeals, do yourself a huge favor. Use your insurance and get a neuropsych or a clinical psychologist, and make sure you also get OT-PT, speech and language, anything that remotely could have an impact on how your child learns. Okay, get it all done and then give it to them idiots. Don't let them know you're doing it. Just go do it. Don't announce it. Don't say nothing. And you catch them off guard, and now they're screwed, because here's what you're going to be able to prove. If you get your own evaluations done, you're going to be able to prove for a denial of FAPE in your complaint. When you get your shit done, it's going to show how all the areas that the school district didn't evaluate in, which supports the reason why your kid's failing, because which also supports that the IEP is not reasonably calculated. You won. That's how it works. And unfortunately, it takes time. And unfortunately, you got to do it. Okay, it's just the way it is. I'm sorry to tell you that, but that's what you have to do. And if you guys want to know how to do it, I will show you how to do it. I don't care. My life is nice now. I like it a lot. I'm crocheting. I'm making t-shirts. I'm selling stuff that I'm making. And I'm doing this. And I'm a happy grill. I'm happy. So if you guys want me to do this, you guys got to show up. Well, this is alive. But I don't care, because I'll do YouTube and I'll put it out there and you guys have to go. But see, the difference is like, this is back and forth. So you guys are asking me questions and I can answer them in real time. And then you guys see this video and you can get it. So because I can even put that transition, I'm going to leave it up there. So at the end of this video, I'm going to go in, and when it posts, I'm going to put the link to this in the bottom of this. So you'll be able to see it, because it's in my it's already in there. It's already in as part of this video. So I'm still learning how to do stuff. But I do know I can do that. Okay. So it says, I'm in Illinois. My son was supposed to start at 14 and a half, but he started at 16. We always push the school, now almost 19, and he's still in high school because not ready for anything else. Honey, he can stay in school until he's 22. Don't rush your kid. Stop. You're inputting you in there. You're what you believe you should be doing. Okay. Your kid, there's an issue. If he's still in high school, there's an issue. He's not ready for anything. I understand. You need a transition assessment. Okay. You need a clinical psychological evaluation. That's what you need. And then you can prove everything that I'm saying right now, you'll be able to prove they're not doing their job. But you got to go do what I told you to do. We want to complain to change his plan for an appropriate. Don't know how. I just told you how. Go get out independent. Don't tell the school you're doing it. Use your insurance. Hurry up, because I don't know what's going to happen to the insurance. I don't know if they're going to keep the Affordable Care Act. If they don't keep it, we're going back to the way it was before. But I used to tell parents even before, if your kid is on state insurance, you should be covered. Okay, you're in Illinois. I know a few people in Illinois, and we were doing this before. So I got evaluations done in Illinois. So if they take it back, then the states are going to be responsible for giving you everybody insurance. Okay, Massachusetts had the best health plan, and Massachusetts ain't doing what they want everybody to do in the nation. They already said, I love Mara. Okay, she already told them, we're not doing what you want us to do, so go bite me. So they've already told the president-elect that, yeah, Massachusetts is not doing that wild, crazy shit. Okay, Massachusetts always had a good health plan, better than all across the nation. Okay, better than, except for maybe Alaska, but they always had. And you have to be Alaska born. You have to be a native to get the plan they got. But Massachusetts, I mean, that's what the whole fight about was with Obama and Mitt Romney, when Mitt Romney was running against Obama. And he said, you created this program in Massachusetts, and it's wonderful. We want to adopt it nationwide. And that's what the ACA did. So I have to run, but thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Same to you, Andrew. Okay. I know I did this. Hey, guys. I still can't get past the first page. Thank you for coming, though. So like I said, with this right here, I'm going to post that other thing, Andrew, too. But like I said, you have to line up your ducks. Okay. I actually have a video on lining up your ducks. Okay. I'm going to have to do it again. I'll update it. But lining up your ducks means you get all of your paper to prove you're right. What's missing, you line up all your ducks and you go, okay, the only thing I have here is what the school district said. And this is what the school district wrote the IEP on. So what that means is I need somebody else, because I don't think they did it right. Believe me, what you're feeling is exactly what's going on. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to you, whatever you're feeling is exactly what's going on. The problem is that you have to prove you're right. That's what you have to do. And the way you do it is you get the IEP from last year. You get all of the progress reports from last year. You look at them and you see what they say. You're from Illinois. That's the state. That's the state that literally wrote that the kid was only made 60% of the time that she met the goal. Every quarter it kept saying that until the end. And I beat them. We got everything from them. They owed compensatory services, all kind of stuff in Illinois. They're not that tough. I thought, for some reason, I thought you were in I've sent you stuff, so I don't know why I can't remember where you're from. I thought you were from no, then there's another person with your name, and she's in South Carolina, not in Illinois. Not in Illinois. I don't know. Are you the same one? But anyway, Illinois is not that difficult. I chewed a lawyer out in Illinois. Mother was laughing hysterically. I can show you how to beat them, but you have to do exactly what I tell you to do. Okay? I need you to get the IEP in line. I want you to go read his IEP. I want you to read the goals and objectives and look at how many times. They don't even know how to write an IEP in Illinois. They really don't. We got the woman in trouble who wrote the IEP. She was almost fired. So I know how to beat him. I can show you how. It's not that hard. If he's still in high school, don't be mad about that. He can stay in school until he's 22. Okay? He has to do stuff on his term. And if he's not getting what he needs, then we got to get him what he needs. Okay? And I will show you how. I will show you how to do it. Okay? You got to do exactly what I say. You can't, you can't do what you want. What you want don't count. I don't care if you like it or not. Well, your way sucks. You got to do it my way. You understand? You got to do it my way. Everybody out there, you got to do it my way. Your way sucks. And it sucks because you don't know. And that's not your fault. That's not your fault that you don't know. Okay? So I'm not blaming you that you don't know. But I'm telling you for real, your way sucks. Okay? So I will show you exactly, step by step, I will tell you what you need. Okay? And what you need to do is look at this video again after the holiday. You sit down and you watch it and you say, that's what you was talking about. The denial of FAPE is number one on my thing because it covers so much. If they didn't give your kid a service and they didn't evaluate in all areas of suspected disability, that's a denial of FAPE. Because when you go get the evaluations done, the evaluation is going to show all the areas that the school district didn't evaluate in. And they're supposed to, according to the law, they have to evaluate in all areas of suspected disability, even if it's not related specifically to that particular disability. Because let's say your kid has autism. Okay, your kid has autism, but your kid is real good at math. But because your kid has really bad social skills, that doesn't know how to read the teacher, or he acts out in classroom, so he's missing a lot of information. Okay, so one of the things that has to get done then would be a functional behavioral assessment, because he's acting out in class and it's interfering with his education, not to mention everybody else's in the classroom. So that's why you can't just concentrate on math, or you just can't concentrate. It's anything that has to do with the disability and then some, because the disability can be impacted by various variables. It's a lot of variables that could come into play. Okay. So you have to look at how your kid's disability impacts. And that's when you go to your own, you get your own evaluations done, independent. Do not do a psychological. They already did a psychological. What you want to get done is a clinical psychological. You want more. So you tell them, and if you need, and if the doctors say, well, I don't understand, okay, plus limited, okay. So I can help you with that. That's not hard. I can rip them a new one. I know one thing. If I look at the IEP, let me ask you something. In the IEP, does it say, like last year's IEP, did he meet the goals 100% last year? Or was it a certain percentage he didn't meet? Like it was 60 or 40 or 30 or 70 or whatever. Is that what the IEP said? Because they like to do that in Illinois. And if it did, you're golden. Okay, we're almost done. They did that, we're almost done. Okay, I like that. All right. So now, that's why denial of FAPE is at the forefront. So all you have to do is, when you see my form, all you have to do is answer these questions. So it says, you just say the district failed to implement the IEP. You attach all of the records. Okay. And then you say, see attached, and you can just put a little sentence in there. You could say the district, you say that he did not master any of the goals. See attached. And then it says implement the related services. And then all you have to do for this is see attached too. All you have to do is say, these are all the days that the speech and language pathologist or whoever never showed up for work. And here's all the emails of me asking them, when are they making this up? And as of right now, they never made it up. No, he didn't even. I told you. I knew it. You're closer to the end than you thought. I'm telling you right now. Come here next week, and I'll show you how to get them. And you tell me that sentence right there. Tammy, he didn't even make, because you're going to remind me because I'm old. You say, Tammy, so how do I write this up when he didn't even master the goals? That's a denial of FAPE, honey. It's a denial of FAPE. And I bet you $10 they never had a team meeting at any time during the school year to address the fact that he wasn't making progress. And they're going to say, well, he did 80%. That's not supposed to be 100. If he doesn't make a, so the school district, like I told the one in Illinois. So what you're telling me is that you wrote the goals too big, because he should have made it 100%. He's in school and he's getting special education, and he couldn't make 100% with the thing. That means they didn't do it right. I got you, girl. Hell, I could write the IEP goals and objectives for you, and then you go give it to them and tell them fix it. Fix it right now. Because first we nail them on the fact that they didn't write the IEP goals and objectives right. And then we got them. Okay? We got them. It's bad. I actually have an IEP, I think, that I wrote or that that got written after they got in trouble. I'm telling you, they got in big trouble in Illinois. Big trouble. So anyway. So right here it says the allegation. Okay? Right here. Wait, I got to get rid of this. So okay. So now we're down here to the allegation. Okay. The district failed to address the extended school year. Okay. So I just talked about that. Okay. So then you could say right here, right here you put, okay. Oh, here's the next sentence. The district created a policy and practice that limits the parent's right to address refusal for ESY services and the end of the school year. And then you write, see attached. Okay. And you put a little sentence in here. All you have to do is put little sentences in here. You say, like for this one, failed until the end of the school year. You say, none of the goals and objectives were reached for the school year 2024, 2025 from the previous year, 2023. Now, what you do here is, like I said, let's say his previous year, his previous IEP, this is the way I would do it. So I would get his previous IEP, look at the previous IEP to determine, and his previous report card, not the IEP, the previous report cards from the previous year, okay, from 2023 to 2024, okay? This is this question right here, okay? From the 2023-2024 report card, you attach here and you say, in 2023-2024, while he was on an IEP, this is what his report cards, his all 4 quarters. These are the gains he made while he was on an IEP. Okay. Then you say, in the fall of 2024-2025 school year, he started declining, regressing. See attached report cards. And you got them. Okay. And then you say, had my son received ESY, he would have maintained the skills previously learned for the upcoming school year. Instead, he failed. That's how you get him. So then you get him for ESY services from the previous year. And now you just put it in this IEP. That's your remedy. Not only do you want compensatory services from the previous year, but you want compensatory service. You want ESY in his new IEP now, because you just proved he regressed. Okay, that's how you get him. And then this one says the district created policy practice that limits the parents' rights to address district refusal by the end of the school year. Okay, this right here, you only check this off. Okay, so what the school districts like to do is they say, we're going to address ESY in March. So you're having your team meeting in September, or you had it last June, and they're telling you you're not going to have, you're not going to know if your kid's going to get ESY services until March. That's a problem for you, because if they say no, you have a right to dispute it. Okay? You have a right to dispute it. So you're in March. So you got to file that complaint right now. You got to file a complaint right away as soon as you have that meeting, because you only have 45 up to 45 days before the end of the school year. So you're in March, April, May, you're cutting it close. That's why they do that. And so you have to tell them, no, we can't do that, because then I only have 45 days to dispute this. So you make them say, no, he can't have it right now. And they're going to say, well, we don't have any information. Well, what are you using to make that determination? They have to tell you how how they are calculating whether or not your kid, what are they using as a basis to approve or deny ESY services? Yep. And I'm going to tell you something else. If your kid is getting ESY, you want all academic and all of the accommodations. You want the whole IEP implemented in the summer, unless, of course, you have something else. And the IEP, what I do is I tell the parents, look, you can have ESY. They don't get to, that's another thing. I had a school in Florida. Idiots. I think it was Florida. And they told a parent, it was Florida. They told the parent that they only have ESY services for 2 weeks from this date to this date. And I said, and she said, that's for all students. I said, okay, that's a violation because ESY says the law for ESY says the exact opposite, that it's on a case-by-case basis and it includes whatever the kids' needs are. Okay, so then I called them up pretending I was some woman that was moving to Florida. Not on your life would I ever move to Florida, especially with a kid with special needs. I would never do that. But anyway, because it's nuts there when it comes to special ed. So I pretended I was somebody else and I asked her these questions. And then when I got done, I said, I want you to go back. I told a woman, you go back and you tell your special ed director that Tammy Joya said. She's filing a complaint and I have proof now. And I took a picture of the screenshot. I screenshotted the website, their page that said that. It actually said it in writing. And I filed a complaint. And I had to send it to OSAP. First, I filed a complaint. But in Florida, they do some wacky shit in Florida. And they acted like it was okay to do that. And then OSAP had to step in because it was statewide. So they had to step in. And they basically told OSAP, we don't care. And OSAP said, okay, you don't care? Good. So we'll just take our money from you. How about that? How about we do that? You got 2 seconds to fix this. And I was so mad with Florida, I couldn't even do it anymore. I was like, I was done with that case and I walked away. My client moved to Massachusetts. We were all done. But yeah, so that's when the district creates a policy. So they have to tell you what their policy is, what they're using, and there's 2 ways to do it. And I can do a whole thing just on ESY. I can do a whole thing on ESY because it's huge and how they determine it in the questions. See, the way you beat the school is how you present information to them or how you ask questions of them. Okay. So you ask questions that they're not going to be able to answer, which is wonderful, but it has to do with the law. And I could show you guys how to do that too. And it has to be on a case-by-case basis. But after a while, you start doing this, you pick up on how to do it. Okay. So that's what you would do with ESY. But you use these sentences in this whole thing that I sent you guys. These are complaint starter questions or complaint starter sentences. Okay. You fill in what you need to fill in on these forms. So you use this form, you check off the box. So now they have to pay attention because they know what denial of FAPE is. They know extended ESY. They know what that is. Okay. So you can say the district never provided me with their policy and procedures on how they determine whether my son or my daughter was denied ESY services. They didn't provide this and this. So I don't know how they based it on the IEP services. However, and then you can go back and say, last year in 2023, 2024, my kid was passing. And then they stopped giving him services because of summer. And they said he didn't need it. And when he came back to school, the first 6 weeks of school, he failed everything. That's how you get him. That's how you get them for compensatory services. And that's how you set them up to make sure your kid gets ESY for the following year. Because we're not going to keep doing this. Because we will do this every year. And then what we will do is you will owe me compensatory services. And I will send this to OSAP every single time. If the state doesn't step in, I will send it to OSAP and tell them this state is stupid. Yada, yada, yada. Pray OSAP still has the power in 2025. Because if not, we're fine. Only way I could say it. Anyway, the next sentence says, now you don't have to use all of these sentences either. Whatever doesn't apply, cut it out. So you say the next sentence says the district failed to provide a copy of the policy. I just said that. They have to tell you how they're doing stuff. They can't just, pull it out of their hiney holes. They have to tell you how they're doing stuff. The district failed to provide prior written notice. That's bad. Prior written notice is just like consent. It's all through the idea. The district failed to provide prior written notice of their refusal to address ESY until the end of the school year and therefore denied my right to dispute. This is a biggie. This is all the time, all day long, they do that. Okay, they don't put stuff in writing because they know you don't know your rights. When they don't, and don't ask them. Don't ask them for the prior written notice. What you do by not asking them, you're giving them the rope to put it around their own neck. Okay, let them. Don't say you're supposed to give me prior written notice. Blah, blah, blah. No, don't do it. Let them. When you file the complaint, it'll say that they never sent me. They told me no. Here's the email. Prior written notice has to contain certain things. There's certain things that go into a prior written notice. Did you say that if something is statewide, then OSEP may have an interest in violations to FAPE? Yes, always, because the state gets federal grant money. IDEA. Every state does. And then every school district within the state, they also apply for that grant money when the state gets it. And so every single school district, most of the time, they get grant money for IDEA. So yes, OSEP is only giving each state grant money with a condition that every single state that's voluntarily applying for this grant money agrees to implement IDEA and OCR regulations 100% of the time. Now, the thing with OSEP is, it's been a hard road. OSEP will go after school, or will go after state for not implementing, but you have to prove that it's a statewide problem and it's continuous. And the only way to do that is when you file a complaint, you CC OSEP on the bottom of it and you send it to them. You got it on email. You have every single state has a state contact person, has an OSEP contact person for every single state. Okay. And there's a link for that and I can give it to you. Okay. So yes, FAPE is huge. It's all the laws. It's not just violations of FAPE. It's violation of IDEA. All of 307 pages of IDEA regulations. They have a vested interest in it because they gave every single state who applied for the grant, and every single state does, grant money to implement IDEA for kids with special needs. And the condition was for them to implement it. And if they don't implement it, and they keep doing it over and over and over again, now OSEP's like, what are you guys doing? And it's like having your boss looking over your shoulder, asking you what the hell are you doing? That's what it's like. How does this apply if an out-of-district school? It applies all the time, honey. What are you talking about? Okay. Out-of-district schools are funded by the public school. The public school is responsible for the implementation of the IEP. And so is the out-of-district school. Everybody that's supposed to be giving your kid an education, they're being looked at right now for that in Massachusetts anyway. I think you're from Massachusetts, right, Christine? Are you from Mass? There's a whole thing that came out in Massachusetts by OSEP, and they're investigating them now. And I've been waiting for the link. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go check and see if I got it yet. On their decision on what happened in Massachusetts regarding violations that I cited and that kept sending them. Okay, yeah. I, as soon as I can, remind me next week, and I will see if I got a response from OSEP about their investigation in Massachusetts and what came of it, because they said it was going to take a long time. But I mean, it happened before the end of last school year, so it's been a few months. So it was bad, and it was mostly because of me. I mean, there was so much. I can't even remember what it was now. I'm getting tired. That's why. But yes, every state has to comply with IDEA. You got grant money from IDEA, you have to comply. And Massachusetts got millions of dollars. Millions. I can't get FAPE in math for my son. Thanks. I'm not hopeful. I don't understand why you can't get FAPE. Your kid on an IEP? If your kid's on an IEP, you can get FAPE. I don't know. I told you guys before, I don't know what you guys are calling FAPE. Okay? An out-of-district school is responsible for the implementation of your kid's IEP, and the school district is responsible for. That's one of the things they got in trouble for. I remember. the public school is you file against them and say that you got to file against the state Department of Education, and you say that the public school is not monitored, the public and the state is not monitoring the implementation of the IEP in that private school. I believe you. I believe you. That's what they got in trouble for, not monitoring private schools. They literally got in trouble for that. So you remind me next week, and I will have the report to give you on the findings. And it was all because of me and a couple other people. IEP and revow expired last December. You tell them. You tell them they got 2 seconds. Did they put that shit in writing? If they put it in writing, file a complaint that the school district is denying you the right to have a team meeting to develop an IEP. The IEP expired last December, and they're saying you're not going to get it for 6 months. And they're going to say they're busy. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And I will send you something in that complaint. I will give you the piece that you need to nail the state, and then I'm going to show you where to send the IEP to, where to send your complaint to. Okay? How much you want to bet? I don't, but see, I'm basing everything you're telling me on what you're telling me. Okay? If they're not implementing the IEP, they're in trouble. If the school district is not monitoring the implementation at the private school, then the public school's in trouble. And if the state isn't monitoring the public school that's supposed to be monitoring the private school, they're in trouble with OSAP. See how it works? Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. I know. They can't do that. You tell them, well, I guess we'll just file for hearing. Say, okay, we'll have a hearing. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. Don't do it. I'll show you how to write the complaint and they'll stop it. Okay. Now, the next one on this page is the district failed to provide me with my procedural safeguards. That's a no-no. If they're telling you something that your kid, you can't have ESY services, whatever they're saying that they have to put it in writing. They have to send you prior written notice, and the prior written notice can't be in an email. It has to meet. In Massachusetts, it's called the N1 or the N2. Okay. They have to give you the reasons whys and what fors for you. Yes, I'm told just not to complain. No dyslexia, there's no massive. Then that means that the program your kid's in is a violation. Could I ask you what school the kid's in? Could you tell me? If you don't want to, it's okay. Is he, well, let me ask you this. Is he in a collaborative or is he in a private school? Because it sounds like he's in a collaborative. And they're shit. That's a shit show for real. Okay. So any of these under number 2, Pathways, Arlington, what? Okay, so that's a private school. So they don't know what the hell they're doing. Okay. You and I have to talk. Okay. So what we're going to do is, So when did they change him? Okay, can you do me a favor? I want you to send me the IEP at Pathways. Okay? And then I need you to text me that I got it, that you sent it to me, because I'm not getting the messages. And so I'll look at it after Thanksgiving. But send me at the email address on the what's this called? Facebook. Email address is on there, and just send it there, and then just text me. My telephone number's on there. Tammy is Christine. I sent you the email. I don't have one yet. Send me the one that he went to that school with, honey. I need the last accepted IEP, because the one he has right now is the one that Pathways is using. So just send it to me. And in about five minutes, I can tell you, I can write it out. Okay, thank you. Ben was at last meeting. Okay. I'm telling you, within 5 minutes, I'll be able to just almost write your whole complaint. It'll be real quick. Okay, good. Do what I told you to do. All right. The district refused to provide. So basically what I'm trying to tell you guys is this. Every single one of these pages gives you information that you need to read and pick out the things that you want. And these are just starter sentences. No problem. These are just starter sentences. Okay. This is to help to guide you, to make you think. Okay. What do I need here? How do I do this? Now, if you have a problem with this form, we can discuss it. Say, Tammy, I don't understand what this form means. But if you guys want to, listen, I want to keep it on the real. Going to hearing is not the way to go. I don't care what state you live in. It's just not. It sucks. It really friggin' sucks. It's too much work. It's too much back and forth. You got to hire an attorney. If you don't have the money for an attorney, then you have to go up there and go up against the attorneys. And in Massachusetts, MHTL, I think that's the Murphy, Toomey, Hess, and Lehane, or something like that. They are notorious for just tearing everybody apart. And the BSCA hearing officers are not impartial. And I've told them that to their face. I don't have a problem saying it. They're not impartial. They can't spell impartial. None of them. And I've had most of them. Been doing it for 30 years. So I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't file for a hearing. It's a total waste of time. You can get more out of a complaint in an investigation than you can in a hearing. I'm telling you, I've done it. It works way better for me. And it can work that way for you. You just got to learn how to do it. You just got to listen to what I'm saying. You got to do what I tell you to do. I'm not doing it. I don't care. I will look at your stuff and I will show you where you went wrong. And I will tell you the laws they violated. When I tell you laws they violated, you put it in an email to the Wombats. You CC OSAP in your emails. And you say it's mine, and you CC it to the department. And I'll give you the name in Massachusetts. I'll give you the email for who you send it to at OSAP. Okay, Massachusetts, that's going to be Laura Duos. And then I'm going to send you the same shit that they sent me about how they're not monitoring. I'm going to say, so you guys still haven't figured this out yet? So now I got another kid. So now you'll be getting all her stuff. How about that? Good. So that's what we got to do. So like I said, this whole thing. So then it says the district has, here's another one. The district has denied me the right of the opportunity to dispute the decision within a reasonable amount of time to obtain an answer. If I prevail, yada, yada. This is all about, this is everything now. I keep jumping it. I'm ahead of myself. So this tells you why. You just read all of these first and then pick out the ones that you want. Okay? That's how you do it. The district has denied me the right to the opportunity. Okay, then it says disability that hinders my child's ability to access, and then you click them all off. Everything your kid has, you click it right here. And because the question is, the answer is, the statement you're making is already there. The complaint is written for you. Understand? This complaint, any complaint you guys have that you want to write, it's written for you. All you have to do is click on this, and you can add stuff to it. But the main idea, the allegations, is already here. This is where you guys are having a problem. You're having a problem because you don't know how to write the complaint. That's the problem. And that's how they beat you all the time. They beat you all the time because they know you don't know how to write it. Because you don't know how to make the allegations right. This right here shows you how. So all of these disabilities, this is under 34 CFR 300.8. This is what it's listed in the idea. All of it. I copied and pasted it and put it in there. So you tell them, my kid has autism, my kid has social emotional behavior disorder, my kid has communication nonverbal disorder, all under 34 CFR 0.8. That's where you get it from. You get it from the doctor and you check it off on here. Okay? And then you show them what the doctor said. Okay? Other health impairment. Now, other health impairment, I actually explained it. Okay? What that means, because I love to put other health impairment for autism. Autism is your kid's primary diagnosis. If you go to a doctor and the doctor writes down all of your kids' diagnosis, you tell him. You have to specify autism is the primary diagnosis, because the school district is going to say it's other health impairment. They're going to look at you and say, no, they're not. Yes, they will. And then I'm coming back here to show you what they did for you to write another letter to say, no, his primary disability is autism, or his primary disability is intellectually challenged. Whatever it is, these people want a minute, because you understand. Let me tell you what. Other health impairment are disabilities that are invisible to the naked eye. Okay, like dyslexia. The only time you know about dyslexia is when a kid is trying to do their work. Okay, or like attention deficit disorder. That's an invisible disability. Okay, it's invisible to the point where the person is not in a wheelchair. Okay, the person does not have Down syndrome. It's invisible. Okay, that's what that means. That's why they love to put every kid under other health impairment, because look at what it says there. There's not a lot that you can write for goals and objectives under those things. Attention deficit disorder, I put a kid on IEP all the time with that. Tourette syndrome, IEP. But epilepsy and diabetes, no. A heart, that's all 504. They just have to make sure they have accommodations, because if you have diabetes or epilepsy, that doesn't mean that you're intellectually challenged. I mean, you could be and have all of that stuff. That's in addition to all of that stuff would go. Let's say your kid had intellectually challenged, multiple disabilities. That's another one that could go in there. Other health impairment it goes under section 504 and under additional information in the IEP. Okay, because you got to break down what your kid has. Your kid has diabetes. Your kid has to take a shot, whatever. They have to monitor him to make sure, or her, they have to monitor the sugar levels, all of that. Epilepsy, everybody has to be trained in the classroom to make sure that the kid is safe. If the kid has a grand mal seizure, they have to notice when the kid is having a glazing seizure, or, the invisible seizures. Yeah, they have to know when that's going on. And there are signs. Okay, that's why the kid has to sit in front of the classroom so the teacher can see it. See the kid, rather, not it, but see it, meaning see if the kid is having a seizure. Okay. Asthma. My son had asthma, but he was on an IEP, but that's not that they had to make sure they gave him his medication, which in Massachusetts, those morons decided that he can't carry his medication around with him in school. And I said, okay, let me see if I can put this to you another way. Let's say my son, okay, he's on the south side of the high school and his medication is on the north side. How long do you think it's going to take him to get there through everybody while he's having an asthma attack? Do you know how bad it's going to be? I told them, if I have to come here because something happened to my kid because he couldn't get to his asthma medicine because you guys have some stupid rule, I'll tell you what. I'm telling you, I'm going to sue you. If anything happens to my kid, look out. He was the only kid in the end that walked around that school with his asthma medicine. I don't care nothing about their stupid rules. Well, he's going to give it to everyone. Why would he give his asthma medication? He can't breathe. Why would he give his medication to somebody else? Just because you people are stupid doesn't mean my kid is. My kid wasn't stupid. I hate people. This is why I don't like people. I don't like those people. I don't like people that work in this field that are allegedly people of power and they have authority. I don't like none of them. There are very few teachers I like, because a lot of them don't like me because I tell them about themselves and I don't care. But usually it's not even the teachers. It's really the administration. Okay. So all of this is what you have to check off. Okay. On your form. So now the reader, because this is for the person that's reading your complaint, you want them to know what your kid has, especially when they read all of this, okay, and they look at the IEP, they're going to say, oh, I see. No, the IEP is stupid. IEP is not reasonably calculated. Kid has all of these disabilities, and this is what the IEP says. Yeah, we got a problem. Okay. So all of this whole page is all about the disabilities. Okay. And it has all of this stuff. Like I said, all you have to do is check off the boxes. You don't have to put anything. You can say see attached evaluation. That's all you have. See attached OT, PT, clinical psychological evaluation. Anything that you had done on your kid, you put it all in here. Okay, because all of those evaluations that you had done and what the school did, you say see attached evaluations. That's all you have to put. Outside, outside, privately funded, or outside IEs, or whatever it is, you put it right in this section. See attached, and you attach it. Okay, it's already written. It's already written for you. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You just don't. Allegation number 3 of idea. The district failed to evaluate all areas of suspected disability. That's what we were talking about earlier. All you have to do is get an outside, privately funded, clinically psychological evaluation, or an OT, a PT, a speech and language eval, anything that you have done outside of the school that your insurance is paying for. Don't tell the school in advance that you're doing it, but when you get it, you give it to them. In Massachusetts, once you get outside evaluations done and you give it to them, they got 10 days to have a team meeting to discuss the results of those evaluations that you gave them. Okay? 10 days. Every other state, I don't know if they have to do it within a reasonable amount of time. Okay? Especially when the evaluations are saying all of this stuff that they didn't do. The longer they take, the worse it is for them. And they're thinking nothing's going to happen. But I'm telling you, get it done. You get it done, and I will show you how to use that information on this right here. This is where this is how you prove a denial of FAPE. This right here, if they didn't evaluate in all areas and your evaluation shows all the additional areas they did, and it was bad when they did their evaluation, the school's screwed. Yeah. Failed to administer an FBA corresponding BPA for inappropriate unwanted behaviors. If that's happening, check it. These are all things that you can check that they didn't do. Okay, because they didn't evaluate in all areas of suspected disability. Another allegation, they used a screening tool. They invented. Okay, under IDEA, you have to use clinically sound, valid and reliable, technically sound instruments like the WISC-5, okay, like the WACE, like the WIPSI, like what is that? The BASC. They can't just make up their own in-house testing and take that testing and say, yeah, you don't have nothing. And they can't buy one on the internet and Pearson Clinical or any place else, because all you can do is look it up. Every evaluation they did, any evaluation they did, when you look it up, if it says screening, if the definition of that evaluation is a screening, and that's the evaluation that they determined your kid didn't need a service, that's a violation, because the law says you cannot use a screening tool. All of this, like, oh, the DIBELS and the DRA2, those are not real reading assessments. They're no good. They're shit. Poopa caca. Telling you it's poopa caca. So if they use the DRA and the DIBELS to determine your kid doesn't need anything in reading, you got them. That's not an evaluation. I don't know. It's horse manure is what the DIBELS and the DRA2 is, unless they change dramatically. And it's real easy to find out for me. I can find out if those have been deemed reliable instruments by the authorities that deem testing viable. Okay, like measurable instruments, technically sound, and all of that. I know how to find them. Okay, so yeah. So if they use the DRA2, you check that off. And then you attach the DRA2. And then I'm going to show you how you attach the information about the DRA2 or the DIBELS. Or Dover has not changed and is still, yeah, well, if it was a screener and they said no, then you have good, I'm telling you, you got good cause. Go get your shit and line it up. I've been telling you this now for a long time. You don't do nothing I tell you. You don't do nothing I tell you. I'm going to punch you. Yes, DIBELS, poo-poo caca. I told you that before. That's why it's in here. I told you that before. DIBELS is a piece of doodle. You can type in, is the DIBELS a screening tool? It'll come right up. Yes. Come right up, yes. DRA2 too. It doesn't, DRA2, there's so many areas of reading that these two stupid instruments don't cover. It's amazing. And that's how you get them. That's how you get them, by saying they did not evaluate in all areas of suspected disability. They did not use valid and reliable, technically sound instruments. I'm telling you, I get this. I swear to God, I'm going to take one of you at a time. And I'm going to show you, each and every one of you, how I can take your information and totally beat them. It's easy. It's not easy, but pain in the ass. Okay, allegation of district failed to implement child find. If they don't do an evaluation on your kid, and you ask for them to do an evaluation on your kid because you suspect that your child may have a disability, that's a violation of child find if they say no. They have to do it. They can't say no. Okay? They can come up and say your kid doesn't have a disability, but they can't say we're not going to evaluate your kid because our feelings are he doesn't have a disability. That's another bullcrap thing to say. Okay? So like I said, all of this, here it is right here. The district used their opinions as valid and reliable testing instruments. See attached. Then you would, this actually happened in New York. We won because we proved that they used their opinions to determine eligibility or ineligibility because they're stupid. And they literally testified to the fact that one of them did a PT evaluation. Can't even believe they did this. They did a PT evaluation. And it said PT, it said something at the top that didn't make sense. And I was like, what the hell is this? It wasn't the bot 2 by any stretch of the imagination. So we're reading it, right? We're reading it, and it says that the recess monitor collected the data for the kid while he was on the playground. That's how they determined that he could do stuff, by watching him with a person who wasn't qualified to determine whether or not he had a limp, he wasn't skipping right, he wasn't climbing the thing. There's a whole thing that your kid has to know how to do for a PT evaluation. And they literally admitted that they made it up. It was a school test, which means they determine ineligibility for PT services based on a screening inventive. So guess what? He got PT because we proved that they can't do that. And they truly believe they could. They believe they could in New York because they're crazy. Dryden School District. And if you don't believe me, Dryden was so bad, we took them to hearing, and then we leaked it we gave it to the newspaper, the Ithaca Voice. And you could see everything they did. It was like 3 pages. All about how the school district had to go back and reevaluate 27 kids because they denied them the right to be evaluated. I'm telling you, it can't be done. It's bad. It's so bad. Go look it up. It's called, I'm going to put it right here, the Ithaca Voice. Tammy Joya. Just type in that. So all you have to do is type in that, New York. Type in Ithaca Voice. If you can't find it, just make sure it's Ithaca Voice, New York. And you'll get the whole article still up there. I did it not too long ago. It was there like a few months ago. So yeah, child find. You see what I did? Do you guys get it now? This is your complaint. All you have to do is go in and tweak it. That's all you have to do. You save it as a Word document on your thing, and you can go in and cut and paste. I could show you how to do that too. Okay? Or I can save it for you as a Word document. And then when you get it, you can go in and play with it because it's not going to have any protections on it. Okay? So prior written notice, here's the whole thing about prior written notice. That's the law, the actual law. That's what it says. Okay? The district failed to provide PWN after I requested an evaluation, service, or support. So you just check this shit off. You just check it off. Okay? Could I share what? The Ithaca Voice? Just go and find it, honey. Just type in there, Ithaca Voice. I'll punch you. So here's what you do when you get them for prior. Is that what you're talking about? If you're going after prior written notice, This whole thing right here is real important, okay? And then I go down here and I said the district failed to provide the PRN prior written notice after I requested an evaluation service. So you just check off every single one of these things that when you made the request, they didn't give you prior written notice. What you do is you wait like 60 days. You make your request, you wait like 60, 90 days. Then you file the complaint. And you just do one thing at a time, because the bigger you make it, the worse it gets for them, because they don't want to do nothing anyway. Remember, everybody you're dealing with at the school and the state level, they're lazy. They don't want to do nothing. They just want to get a paycheck. That's what they want. They don't care nothing about your kid. So stop thinking they care about your kid. They don't care about your kid at all. The state doesn't. The school district doesn't. The private schools don't. They just don't. All they care about is their paycheck, power, and authority. And that's why we're in the mess we're in right now come 2025. I don't know what's going to happen, but this is already a horror show. Okay? But anyway, I'm not doing that. So the next one is number 7. Allegation of violation of procedural safeguards to dispute their decision. So when you ask for something and the school district says no, they have to put it in writing. The reason why they're denying you, there's a whole bunch of questions they have to follow. And so what I did is I said, you write the date you made the request. Okay. You attach the request that you made, and that's probably going to be an email. If you ask for something verbally, you follow up with it in an email. Okay. Put it in an email. And then when you do that email, if you have Outlook, there's a way that when you send an email to somebody on Outlook, you can get a response that they read it. Oh yeah, so you know they opened it, okay? And it doesn't matter because it's the same address. So that you've been using. So you put the date the request was made. So here's a big long line. You can put all the requests. You ask for evaluations. You ask for placement. You ask for parent training. Whatever you ask for, you put in here. Okay. And you put the name of the person that you made it to, not the teacher. You never make any requests regarding anything about an IEP to a SPED teacher or to a regular ed teacher or to the principal. You always go to the special ed head person. That's who you go to. Okay. And then sometimes they might say, well, you have to put all of those things going to this person. And you say, okay. And what you do is, you put that person's name on that they said you put, and you put the SPED director's name on it anyway. Then you CC it to Laura Duos because they're playing games. But anything they tell you, you make them put it in writing. So if they call you up on the phone, and they say yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. You say, don't answer them. Don't say nothing. You put it in writing and you say, on such and such a date, I received a telephone call. And during this conversation, so-and-so said to me, yada, yada, yada. My response was, yada, yada, yada. And then say, that doesn't answer my question. Please advise. Whatever you want to put, whatever that call, you never take a phone call from them. Ever. You don't take phone calls from them. What you do is you let them leave a message. And then when they leave the message, you go and you send them an email and you say, on such and such a day, I received an email from you in which your email stated, and save the email. Say you left a message, and you keep that message on your phone, because you can use it in a hearing. Because when they go to leave a message, it says, please leave a name. I am not available, please, but if you leave your name and number, I'll return your call. In a brief message, I'll return your call as soon as I'm. So they know they're leaving a recording. So by them leaving the message, they gave you consent. So you can use that anywhere, in any state. Okay. In New York, it's a one consent law. In Massachusetts, it's 2 consent. So you can't record people. It's a violation. It's wiretapping unless you live in a 1 consent state, or if you live in a 2 consent, make them put it on your tape recorded telephone message. Then you go back and you listen to it and you tell them, in the future, please send me an email with any requests you may want. because they don't want to have a meeting with you about it. And if they have a meeting with you, they'll lie about everything they said to you. Understand? They'll lie. So you make them put everything in writing, and you tell them, for in the future, please, I am not accepting any more phone calls unless it's an emergency for my child. In the future, please send me an email regarding any issues you might want to resolve regarding my child at school. Put it in writing. That's what you tell them. Okay. The allegation 8 is informed consent. That's a big one. Informed consent is huge. Like I said, district did not obtain my informed consent to reevaluate, and this is what you do. You just say to reevaluate or evaluate. So if they just do an evaluation on your kid, but every time they do it, they got to get your consent. It has to be written consent. And it's real easy. So before you say any of this stuff, what you want to do is get your kids' records from the school. Now, if your kid is getting reduced lunch right now, you can get your kids' records for free. Okay? Get your kids' records now. If you already have them, make sure you got all the records and they're up to date. Okay? So if they change the IEP, they can't change the IEP without your consent. They have to send you an amendment to the IEP to make those changes. So look, read your kid's IEP. Read it. So you just check off these boxes. These are the things that they do. So you guys don't even have to think about what they did. You just go and read this and check off what they did. I'm telling you, these are the things that they do. These are the most common things. And 9 times out of 10, what you're trying to do, they've already done. And I got it in this form. Just check off the box and send it in. And send your evidence to back it up. That's all you have to do. They fail to let you participate in the IEP process. Not providing me with the team meeting notice. It's bad. They have to provide you with the team meeting notice and with the date, time, and location and the purpose of the meeting. They can't send you an email and say, be there, be square. How do you do it? Failure to provide me. Why is this one done? I don't know why that one's done. Failure to provide me requested documents 48 hours. So you need to make sure that you get your records anytime before a team meeting. You want whatever they're going to discuss at that team meeting. You want copies of all of those documents 48 hours before the team meeting. Yep, 48 hours. In Massachusetts, it's actually in the state law. Okay? Or 2 days, it says. Failure for allowing me to participate in the team meeting process, failure to obtain my consent to conduct and administer evaluations, failure to provide me with my son's student records upon request. You change this, okay? Just change it to fit your needs. And then you say, other and see attached. IDEA regulations, manifestation hearing. They can't suspend your kid for more than 10 days at a time without having a manifest, and cumulative or all at once. They have to have a meeting, a manifestation hearing to determine whether or not whatever your kid, hi Tim, hi Alma, whatever your kid did that caused the suspension was because of his disability. Okay, that's a manifestation hearing. I never imagined you will be broadcasting tonight. Much, much love. Kisses back at you, girl. You didn't get a notice? Check the YouTube and make sure that it's checked off for notices, notification. Check it all, because apparently it happens every now and then. It just goes back and forth. So just check that. Let me see. So what is this? I talked about you tonight. You didn't know it was you. I said some stuff. You need to watch this video after it's done, which is going to be done in a few minutes. I'm just trying to go through this and tell everybody, I have written your complaint. Basically, all of this is your complaint. And all you have to do is check off the boxes that apply. Cut out the stuff you don't want and send in the attachments with this. It's all done. It's all done. All you have to do, there's a reason why the box is there. All you have to do is add information to it. That's all you have to do. If you have questions about this thing when you guys are using it, I'm telling you, my goal is to always do this on Thursday nights or Wednesday if there's a holiday. Okay? That's my goal. I'm going to try my best to do it. Okay? But you guys have to tell me what you need, Because if you tell me, then, I mean, I went into great detail in here about some of the laws. This is a law. Remedy to resolve issues if I prevail. This is how you do the remedies right here. Okay? Remedies are right there. So, and this is going to be part of this, all of these forms, everything I'm putting in here is going to be in this video. All right? So you can look at it and see what I'm talking about. All you have to do, compensatory services, you always need a remedy. Always need a remedy. Okay? In your complaints. Always. And then it tells you all the different things in here. Reinstate the last IEP. Training will include, and then you break it down. You want training. Training should include this. Everything is in here. All you guys have to do is, and then this is to the SEA. In the event the SEA refuses to investigate my complaint, I will notify. This is what you're keeping this. You let the state know. I'm sending this to OSUP. I'm sick of you people. Up until there's no more OSUP. Okay? Up until then, this is what you guys are going to do. Leave this piece in here. And then I put footnotes on the bottom. Read my footnotes. There's good information in there. And then it says CC OSUP. And then we're done. So for all intents and purposes, I wrote the IEP for you. I mean, I wrote the complaint. All you guys got to do is check off the boxes. Now, what could happen? Okay, so I'm going to do this. Okay. Oh, I don't want to do that either. Stupid. Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to do this. Do this. Do this. Okay. So we just went over all 8 pages tonight of that complaint. Now, you can use that complaint if you're filing it against the state or you're filing it against, if you're filing it against the school district or the state. And I can show you how you can manipulate it both ways. Okay, it's the same complaint. There's just a couple of tweaks you have to do. But for the most part, all you have to do is just say, the state, I filed a complaint. The state didn't investigate all areas. Well, actually, you can't. There's different laws that pertain to the state and what they were supposed to do when they were doing your investigation. So if the state doesn't do their job, there's separate laws for that. And we've done this before, and I'll show you what it is. But for right now, that's the complaint form that you guys use when you file a complaint. If you do that, you will be okay. And if you come back here next week and you say, Tammy, I'm using the complaint, I'm using it, and I don't understand this one, I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is. Okay? I'll tell you how to do it. I'll tell you what to add, what not to add. Okay? But you have to do what I tell you to. If you don't do what I tell you to do, this is not going to get better. And if you really want your kid to be able to have the best chances your kid could possibly have, you really have to pay attention to what's going on. I'm sorry that some of you are saying, I'm not into politics. Let me tell you guys something, okay? Whether you want to acknowledge that you're in politics or not is irrelevant to me. Let me tell you why. Your kid is on an IEP or a 504. That's the federal government, okay? The thing that makes those things work is called IDEA in Section 504. IDEA and 504 are federal grant that helps states to provide FAPE to kids with disabilities. The laws that created IDEA in Section 504 were written by Congress, politicians. Up there in D.C., that's all politics, okay? So while you want to separate it and say politics doesn't have, I'm not into politics, you are into politics whether you want to be or not. The only way you're not going to be into politics is if is if you take your kid off an IEP and homeschool your kid on your dime, then you don't have to worry about politics. But, and that's all I'm going to say about politics. I'm just trying to school you guys so you know that what we're doing is all about politics. We're trying to make the politicians do what we want them to do. And part of it has to do with making school districts do their job. Okay? And the only way, because here's the thing, if the state doesn't get money for IDEA, we're in a whole lot of problems. I'm telling you right now. If we don't get that money, if the states don't get that money, then we're all screwed. Your kids are screwed even more. I'm sorry to tell you, but it's going to be an even bigger fight. And then I'm going to have to figure out a way how to fight them. Because here's what my whole years, and I just remembered this, that I thought this when I thought we were going to lose everything before. Whatever laws we have, those are the laws I'm going to use. Because those are the laws they're going to break. Because they're stupid. So it doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to have some kind of law that protects children with disabilities. We're going to have something. Okay, and it doesn't matter how big or little it is. Whatever we have, I'm going to use, and I'm going to show you how to use it. Is it going to be frustrating? Absolutely. Of course, it's going to be frustrating. They're great. So anyway, I hope that helped you guys out. And thank you guys for coming. I know tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and I really appreciate you coming. And okay, what about when they said we can't file against them? They can't, honey. I read that. No, we're gonna talk because they can't. Okay, you have to stop looking at things from your perspective and start looking at it from what the law says. And if you go read that complaint that I put out there for everybody to have, you will see what I'm talking about. Yes, we have to be apologists because our children, that's right. Absolutely. So go read, look at it carefully. And if you compare what you wrote to what my complaint does, everything that I listed was the law. I just didn't cite the actual numbers, but I can insert them if I want to. Okay. And I'm glad I didn't, because I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know if we're going to have the same laws. I don't know if it's just going to be on the states, and the states that only use the federal government, I don't know if they're going to have to make up their own. So there's a lot of changing, and I don't think these lazy people that are in office right now, I mean, they can't get out of their own way right now. I mean, it's a hot mess. They haven't even transitioned yet into their new positions, and they don't know who's running the government at this moment in time. So they got a whole bunch of people that don't have any credentials. So we don't know what's coming down the pike. We just seriously don't know. I mean, the last woman that was Betsy DeVos, a judge almost threw her ass in jail. Told her to her face, if you don't stop trying to take money from these people after this case was closed, I'm throwing you in jail. He told Betsy DeVos that. She was the Secretary of the United States Education. And then we got Miguel Cardona, who doesn't do that wild, crazy shit. But now we got another one. I think she's going to be a wrestler. WWE wrestler? Oh, goody. Yes, that's what we want. No offense to any WWE wrestlers, but I'm just saying. I ain't seen that chick's credentials yet. But she's going to be the United States. Oh. Okay, breathe. Okay, you guys, have a happy Thanksgiving. I will see you next Thursday. If you have any questions, please, you guys, download that form. And if you want to file a complaint, do what it says. Add more stuff to it. You will be fine. It'll give you a better shot. Okay? If you need help, just come here. Okay? Love you. Happy Thanksgiving. Kiss the kids for me. See you next week.